So today I'm going to show how to assemble the Predator 670 with the General Pump TSF 2021 pressure washer. And after watching Michael Lean and Hotshot Pro Wash's videos, I've had this thing together like 3 or 4 times. I struggled just like they did in their videos. So I figured tear it all apart and try to do one video, putting it back together the right way, or the easy way. So here it is. You just thread this through this bar. There's a clip that goes through this hole, and this will adjust the pump back and forth to tension the belt. So once that's in, appears you want this round circle here in the center towards you. Put these 2x6s on here so I can pull it out beyond, so I can actually get my hands up underneath here to tighten the bolts. There's different holes here for different motors, I believe. I think you can build a 5.5 gallon per minute or the 8 gallon per minute unit, but there's these outside holes are not the ones you want to use, I'm pretty sure. So one right here. The motor has slots in the back side, and it appears you need it as close to the back as possible. And then the other bolts should go right in these 2 holes here. Russ Johnson at Southside Equipment has all the parts. This comes with it. The bolts that come with the pump are Allen heads, which you can't tighten them down, so I had to go to Lowe's and hunt down which were the right bolts. And what I came up with was an M10-1.5-20. They thread in there, they seem fine. And there's this curve here, and this goes towards the back. These are all in, tightened up already. No sense in watching do that. So when it bolts on with this curved part of the bracket, the shaft will be out past the belt housing. Comes with these nylon nuts, which are a pain. Tried to find some regular nuts with lock washers. When I was at Lowe's yesterday, they didn't have the lock washers, so I'm going to use these. This back bolt will go through that bracket that you use to tension the belt. If you got big hands, you're in trouble. Just putting those 2 in for now. I suggest you put the motor on first, because you won't be able to get your fingers back in here once you put the housing on. And either I lost the bolts that Russ sent, which I Don't think I did. But these are the bolts that came from Harbor Freight in the box that had the motor bolted to a sheet of plywood. So I'm just using those for now. I may end up having to swap them out. I need a washer on that. Now that I'm sitting here thinking about this, I think I had to take them bolts out to get the motor slid over to get the belts on. I'm hoping I can put the belt and slide the pulleys on at the same time. So I thought I had it all figured out. Three of these bolts with these squares, those go in from the back side. There are 4 bolt holes here, but I don't have the bolts. I don't think they came, so I don't think it's necessary. But at least that would probably show you where this should line up. There's 2 of these black, I don't even know what they're called. The big one goes on the pump. This out about an 1/8 inch from the shroud. And these have one hole that's threaded and one hole that's not threaded. Pretty sure it only goes on one way. It doesn't fit that way. Once you get one of them lined up, the rest of these go in pretty easy. If you need to take this off, you just take these bolts out and run them through the threaded hole and it'll push it away from. You can get a torque wrench to torque these. Just snugged them up. Somebody broke one of these pulleys in one of their videos. I had to order another pulley. On the motor, these go together and the bolts go through the front and it'll go on opposite of the way this one goes on. But now I gotta see if I can get the belt and this on at the same time. Because once this is on, now the belt won't fit. And I can't move the motor and the pump enough to get it on. So that ain't gonna frickin' work. Golly. So I skipped this because I didn't have the bolts and didn't think it needed it. But when this was all put together, it did kind of rattle around quite a bit. Called Russ this morning on a couple other things I had questions about. He said he's starting to ship these. They're a 5/16 24 fine thread by 3/4, and I bought a lock washer. You could probably go with 1/2 inch, 3/8 of an inch even. These don't seem like they need to thread in that far, so this is what it is. The only reason I got stainless is because they were out of the other. So there's 4 holes here. I loosened up the motor, I loosened this up, and I'm hoping I can get all 4 bolts in here without having to tear anything, pull these pulleys off or anything. Which I may not be able to get this top one in behind the belt. I may just say the hell with it. And I might be able to get it. By bolting that to the motor, I got more clearance back here, which is a good thing. I was a little bit concerned that this was going to rattle around and rub on this pulley. I should have pulled this plastic off before I put it on there, but I thought, oh, I'll protect it. And now it's going to, some of it's going to be left on because I ain't going to be able to get it all the way off. So pull this plastic off, at least the back piece, before you're done. There ain't no way I'm going to get it all off. I got all the plastic out. I tighten these bolts back down, tighten these bolts back down. Put this clip back in that holds the screw on for the shroud. And I am going to leave this on because I got to somehow muscle this thing into my trailer. So I finished up the build on the Predator 670 with the TSF 2021. It's 8 gallons a minute, 8.5 gallons a minute, 3,500 PSI. Website says 3,600 PSI. I don't know. I'm gonna run it at 3,000 PSI. Went on the trigger. Had to buy 8 bolts. These hold on the pump base at Russ Sends M10-150-20. I think that's a fine thread. And then I bought 4 bolts that hold on the fan shroud to the back of the motor. 5/16 by 24 by 3/4. That's also a fine thread. And these could probably be 1/2 inch. I don't think I go any shorter than that, but they didn't need to be 3/4 inch long. But I got everything bolted in. Used Teflon tape rather than pipe dope or whatever they call that, with the pressure sensor valve on the back side here. Still got to hook the battery cables up once I get that, and I got to tighten down the 2 bolts here. Michael Lean said to hook the battery cable to one of these motor mounts, so it's probably what I'll do. And I'll probably hook something to drain the oil out with. I've seen tubes that you thread in there, and so you can not drip oil everywhere. So look at buying whatever I need for that. Tighten these bolts down. But it's ready to go. Got a new fuel filter coming and a new fuel pump. Might do a video on that. Michael Lean seemed to get about a year's worth. I don't know how long he had it, but he got quite a bit of time out of his fuel pump, and he started having problems, and I think he said it was the fuel filter that ended up being the problem. So I'm just gonna hopefully put an upgraded fuel filter on it from the get-go and change that out down the road. I bought 2 of them. But there it is. Predator 670. Oh yeah, the shroud back behind this key where it bashed in, and then that's split up there from shipping.